Hello and welcome to Valkyria Chronicles, the remastered version for the PS4. Yeah, at the end of my Dirge of Cerberus playthrough, I vaguely mentioned, rather poorly I might add, that I'd be playing another game with guns. So here's a game about war. A very anime interpretation of World War II. Well, it's loosely based on World War II, I guess. Yeah, so I realized, I'm playing Lost Dimension right now, a game that sort of takes a bit of a hint from Valkyria Chronicles as far as the combat goes. So I figured, why don't I actually play Valkyria Chronicles for the channel? It's a really fun game. The remastered version just came out. Azure Revolution is getting a little bit of play, and it might come out to the States. I wouldn't bank on it, but who knows? Yakuza 5 came out here, so there might be a shot. And I really like this game. So why not? Oh, and also, Valkyria Chronicles 2 now just came on the Vita store. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, speaking about that, the first game came out in the States no problem, and it was pretty good. Then the second one came out on the PSP. So that should tell you enough. It came out on the PSP. So of course the third one had no shot in hell of getting localized in the States. Because nobody bought a PSP. I mean, I did, but that really shouldn't be a make or break deal. 2 should have been on the PS3 as well, but enough about that. Who knows, Azure Revolution is the beginning of a new series of Valkyria Chronicles, so maybe we'll get that in the States. But enough about that, of what may or may not be. Let's focus on Valkyria Chronicles 1. The main objective for this playthrough is, I'm going to try my absolute best to get all A ranks and to kill all the enemy aces. So, and if I miss one or two, sorry. Again, I like this game a lot, but there are some stages that are a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm going to practice a little bit before I actually record each episode, so I at least have some kind of idea of how to get an A rank for this particular playthrough. Because unlike Lost Dimension, where it doesn't matter what rank you get, this one, there's a bit more precedence for it. So here's our main character, who's voiced by someone that we know, that we've met before. Dave Wittenberg is back again, playing another European hero.
Already? Hey there, guys.
However, unlike Leon, Welkin here is a huge nerd.
Starting early this year. You're heading upstream, huh?
And he doesn't carry a whip with him, and he doesn't fight vampires. And will stop on a dime to sketch fish. Gotta hand it to him, he does some pretty good sketches. But that's not good.
Freeze. Put your hands in the air. Slowly.
Hi, Colleen Shaughnessy.
Haven't seen you around before. What's your name?
So this is a good first way to meet our female protagonist.
And you are...
The one with the gun.
Heh.
We're with the Brultown Walk.
You look suspicious.
I'm Alicia. Alicia Melchior.
At least she's very formal.
I'm wondering what you've been writing in that little book you've got there.
Just nerd notes.
Spies are in the area.
This book is nothing, really.
You had to look at the fish, didn't you, Welkin?
Sketching the fish.
Couldn't just go home, could you?
Yes. Oh, I know.
That's exactly what a spy would say.
Moron, don't you? All right then, Mr. Artist. We'll talk about fish sketching down at the station. Take him away.
So Leon had a much more dignified intro than Welkin here. At least he didn't get fucking arrested in the first chapter. Not even the first chapter, the prologue. Ah, what a huge nerd.
Flowers, bugs, and fish. You're not bad with a pen, are you?
He is pretty good. He's a pretty good sketch artist.
Very good.
Thank you. So you see, I really was just sketching.
Maybe. Or this could be some kind of secret code.
Fish might be totally code for bomb this place.
Great.
Welks, is that you?
Hey, it's Laura Bailey.
Isara! Oh, your timing is perfect.
What
I
have
like
you
her
gotten yourself
shawl.
into now, Welkin? Wait. Don't you live at the old general's house? That's right. I'm General Gunther's daughter, Isara. You do
So
know
this
I'm
is our
supposed
other
to
female
have that?
protagonist, Isara.
Yes. I'm
She's
a
Welkin's
general.
little
My friend
sister.
was here to help me move to the capital, but that may be difficult. I mean, unless you're willing to let him go, that is. Huh?
Hi, Jinx. Burr, 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 burr. Oh, and she's even doing the little puffy cheeks. It's just like my animes.
Apologize, but I was just doing my job, you know. I saw you with the notebook and thought you were a spy. Again, I'm really sorry about that.
Thanks. Don't worry about it. I can see how I might have looked a little suspicious.
A little bit. It's a good thing Welks is just a nerd.
That's why you're studying it at the university, right?
Guilty as charged. I get so into it sometimes I forget where I am or that somebody might be watching me.
Gunfire!
Oh boy.
Everyone keep your heads down!
Oh right, there's a war going on.
Over there!
Forgot about that little detail.
Come on!
Oh my goodness. They're unarmed. They're civilians. They're unarmed. What's the fucking... Oh right, because the Empire in this game is led by a bunch of bastards.
Welkin, you can handle a gun, right?
Yeah. I mean, I made it through training anyway.
Well, they're probably just a small scouting team. We should be able to take them out.
I'm with you.
Alright, it's time for a trial by fire. So now it's going to go on to detail about saving the game, and occasionally these little tutorials will pop up with some pretty basic information. I leave them up just in case somebody wants to read them.
Okay, here's the plan.
So before each mission, Alicia, or somebody else, will give you kind of a detailed idea about what you're supposed to be doing here. Give you a little overlay of the map. Pretty basic information. And the general objective of each particular stage. I think there's around like 17, 18 chapters total. Maybe a few more. I might be missing a few.
Let's get started.
And there's also a few side missions and side stories that you can do. It's a pretty big game. It is an RPG after all.
I see 3 of them.
That's 3 too many. Stay sharp.
So now we get our first little bit of
Wait a
combat.
second. There's something I should explain.
Isara. Alicia's gonna give us kind of a brief overlay of how to handle combat. You have these little medals called command points. It's pretty self-explanatory. One command point lets you control one character, and then after you control said character, they have a thing called action points, AP, which is how far they can move, and how many actions they can take. And it's going to go into detail. Action points is how far a character can move. However, if you keep using the same character, they get less and less AP for every time you use them in that one phase of combat. Now, this isn't going to come up until the next update, but since Welkin and Alicia and all the other characters we have currently right now are scouts, they have a shit ton of AP and can move really, really far. So combat is a bit different from Lost Dimension. In Lost Dimension, everybody kind of just waited their turn for each of their own phases. Where in this, it's kind of like, I forget what the name of that game by Intelligent Systems is, but it plays just like Valkyria Chronicles. Codename Steam. It's similar to Codename Steam, even though this sort of inspired Codename Steam, where if you get into an enemy's line of sight, they will start shooting you. It doesn't matter if it's your turn, they will shoot you, and if you're not careful, they will shoot you dead. But the same can work for your characters as well whenever your opponent is moving. But whenever you start aiming your gun, you can literally shove the gun in your opponent's face, and they will not move. And then, of course, taking headshots kills them a lot quicker than, say, shooting them in the body. And then, of course, there's each particular unit that you deal with has a particular weak point that you can use that takes less shots to kill as opposed to the main body. So go for headshots. Also, it's going on about cover. I don't use cover for this first little encounter. But sandbags are your primary form of cover. Basically, what you want to do at the end of every little combat phase, with the exception like these first few stages, is to duck behind the sandbags so that your opponent has a harder time shooting at you. And also so you can counter a lot easier. But for this prologue, it's pretty easy to just have Welkin kind of serpentine and run right up to each of these scouts, right up to their face, stick his gun in their mouths, and then just blow them away.
Here we go.
In fact, that's how you get an A rank for this stage, that I find. It's not that hard. Scouts do not deal that much damage. At least these don't. And they don't take much damage either.
Yes.
And like I said, since Welkin is a scout, he's got plenty of AP to spare, so he can pretty much clear the entire field.
Here we go.
You know, for a huge nerd, Welkin can run pretty far and fast. And he can handle a gun pretty well. Then again, I am putting it right up against their heads, so... yeah. So anyway, there you go. Operation complete.
I don't see any more of them.
Welkin is pretty good with a gun. So there you go, A rank. Now the way that you get A ranks in this game is not necessarily by style, it's by time. Generally, if you can do about 3 turns maximum, you're pretty much guaranteed to get an A rank. Ideally, you want to go for the less amount of turns possible. Less amount of turns? The fewest amount of turns possible. There you go. That's proper English.
Good. Now, go keep watch and stay alert.
We are the town watch, after all.
What should we do with the bodies, ma'am?
We'll bury them. So it's begun. I'll do whatever it takes to protect the people of this town. I'll do it. Even going to war, I'll do it. What are those?
Seeds from the lion's paw.
That sounds like a badass flower.
White, small, simple, and strong.
I want to be able to remember, once the war is over, that it wasn't all just people killing people.
Do you not know what war
Even in
means?
war, there was also new life.
Oh right, this is anime, I forgot.
On the 15th day of the 3rd month of the year 1935, the Empire began its assault in earnest. A formal declaration.
We're going to have these little intermission sections from Irene Kohler. We'll meet her later on.
Continental assault
A little later on.
followed would prove that a tiny nation could best a military giant. These events would tell a story of tragedy hidden in the mists of time. A story of courage and of trust, of persecution and hate.
Do you guys like anime racism? Cause there's a shit ton of that in this game.
Even through the flames of war. What follows is a record of this conflict, and of those who fought, lived, and died.
You gotta love it whenever, like, the first stage is the prelude to the title actually being dropped. So as the title might have given you a bit of a hint, this takes place in anime Germany, or anime Europe. The whole place is called Europa, so take a wild guess. Anyway, after Welkin just shot 3 men in the face, it's time to go back to idyllic farm life. City life, whatever. Today was a good day. I shot 3 guys in the face, got held up at gunpoint by a pretty girl, Got to sketch some fish. Day went pretty well today.
Seeing that old mill
Pretty
spot
good.
again really makes it feel like home sweet home.
Welkin, you're getting over killing 3 people pretty quickly.
I hear that. It really is one of the most beautiful things about this town.
For a guy who was just sketching fish, he's kind of getting over the shell shock of just, like, killing 3 people. Point blank in the face.
Well, citizens, our enemy.
Then again, this is anime, so
I thank you for your help.
I guess PTSD isn't a thing.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. Gonna go shoot some more Imperial jerks in the face.
How's the packing coming along, Ys?
Almost done. I only need to take the everyday basics.
Well, the Empire's got to be close by. Let's hit the road by sundown.
They're taking the whole fact that this Imperial Legion, who's just steamrolling and shooting unarmed civilians, pretty in stride. Well, they're gonna be here to burn our town to the ground. May as well just get a move on.
You're still calling me that? Martha, I'm 22 years old.
Holy shit, Welkin's younger than me.
And more important, you shouldn't be running around. Aren't you due any day now?
And again, this game was made back around in 2008, so...
Won't hurt the little spud. I should know. I've already had 4 of them.
Hello there.
She got that bread fast.
Welkin in?
Oh, hello, Alicia. What brings you here?
I just wanted to apologize for before. Here. This is for you.
It's bread.
Really? These are for me?
It's stale, though.
I work at the bakery. Well, I did until the war.
Couldn't tell from the little thing on your head.
That's preserved bread, so it's pretty hard. Heat it up before you eat it, all right?
Well, that's sweet.
I baked it myself, so the flavor's guaranteed. Best you ever had.
I'm sure these two won't start up a romance or anything.
Do you want to come in?
Although, to be fair, it is kind of nice to play an RPG where the main cast isn't just a bunch of teenagers.
Shot at? You've had a busy day of it, haven't you, Welkies?
How are you taking this in stride so well?
What a lovely lady you are for all.
People died!
Good job, Welkies.
What? Wait, no, it's not like that. Alicia just saved my skin,
Martha,
that's all.
people, like 3 people died.
He's right. We just.
A woman got shot point blank.
Just as
Somebody threw a grenade.
Although I'm
War is on.
friend.
It's not a good scene.
Oh, well, I'm sure you will. Be good to my Welkies here.
Oh no, she's just gonna play matchmaker, whatever.
Okay, seriously, Martha, enough with the Welkies already.
Uh-huh.
That's a lovely portrait. Is that General Gunther?
Shifting gears.
Yep. It was taken before I was born.
Welkin's dad looks like a badass.
That's Dad. You're a
It's the
lucky
beard.
guy. And who's that with him there? My father, Tamer. He was an engineer. The General's tank was his creation. Wait a minute. But I thought the General was your dad.
I lied, just so you could let him go.
Died when I was a baby.
Oh, that's rough.
The General was kind enough to take me in as his own after that.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. We're not related by blood, but she's definitely my little sister.
So anime is your excuse for this. So it's okay if she
Is that
wants to,
question
like,
too personal?
kind of hit on me and harbor secret feelings for Welkin.
I was blessed with 2 wonderful fathers.
They say that they're brother and sister, but you know that's a thing.
Oh, is that really the time? I've got to get going. Why don't you see her off, Welks? I can take care of the rest of this on my own.
All right, I will. I'll be right back.
See you later, Isara. Safe travels.
I don't know. For some reason, I feel that there's gonna be bad times ahead. There's gonna be hard times ahead, baby. Hard times.
Wow, look at this. Brule's really becoming a ghost.
It's almost like there's a war that's happening.
Leaving for a while. Just about everyone is evacuated by now. can't blame them. Tensions are rising with the Empire.
I heard they have a Death Star now.
Guard and protect the home front. Everyone will come back someday. They'll come back when it's safe again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Welkin, I'm curious. Are you gonna join the army like your father?
I don't think that's for me.
Funny you mentioned that, Welkin.
What I'd really like to do is be a teacher.
Uh-huh. I'm sure you're gonna become a teacher by the end of this chapter.
Yeah. Animals and insects, flowers and plants, they've always been my passion. I've learned a lot from nature. You see, my dad, he protected this country as a general, but it's just that I want to give back in my own way.
You know, Welkin's not the most violent protagonist I've played as in any of my playthroughs, but he's certainly one of the most earnest ones.
That's deep, in your own way.
I like Welkin, even if he is kind of a nerd. And he's a bit naive. Anyway, like I was saying, bad times!
What was that?
It's time for some bad times, and time for the bad time police to roll in.
That sound.
Oh my god, they have a Death Star! They did have a Death Star! That came from the sky! Oh, damn. Oh my goodness. Anime war is pretty bad. Jesus, they're running away! Why do you gotta shoot them? Maybe I didn't pay that much attention in World War II, but fuck me. Anime World War II is pretty bad.
I don't believe it. The mill.
Surprisingly, everything else is relatively okay.
Miss Melchior, the Imperials are attacking. There's a squad of them in town right now.
Get all the town watch together, now! We've got to fend them off.
They must be at Mill Plaza. I'll help.
Thanks, Welkin. Now move out. Stay low.
Yeah, that whole teacher thing seems like it's gonna be a bit hard to do. When all of your town is gonna be up in flames, probably by the end of this. That's kind of like JRPG rule number 1. The starting town, that's fucked. Well, except in Persona, but then again, most of the action happens in, like, the little town of Inaba. But this is different town, where you go across more than just the one place. And also Persona 4 is a bit more modern than this. Even though Valkyria Chronicles is a bit more modern than, say, I don't know, Chrono Trigger? Or some of the earlier Final Fantasies.
Okay, let's begin. It's up to us to defend Brule.
Although in Final Fantasy VII, the first town gets, like, the other part of the city dropped on it. So I don't know.
Imperials in Mill Plaza. Focus on taking down their captain. Breaking the chain of command should at least...
So now this chapter introduces another little key factor of gameplay. Captains.
Let's all be careful out there.
Captains are easily identifiable because, at least in this first chapter, because unlike the regular, like, brownish, regular troops that you see, captains wear red armor. And if you kill a captain, the enemy loses a command point. So it's kind of good. It's kind of a good idea to kill the captains in order to get rid of some of their fighting power, so they can't take nearly as many moves as you can. Also, I don't show this off until the next update, but if you just decide to cancel your turn right off the bat, you can still store command points. They stack, so it's pretty useful. And now it's time for a thing that I like to call Overwatch. No, not the recent video game sensation Overwatch. I mean the Overwatch as in, if you start moving into enemies' sightlines, they'll, like, shoot at you while you're trying to get to your destination. This is why it's very important to use sandbags. Not for these first few chapters. Feel free to disregard them. Later on, these are going to be kind of very important. If you don't want to lose a unit, that is. Because Valkyria Chronicles very much works off the whole Fire Emblem style of of unit death. Well, it's a bit more forgiving than that, but we'll get into that in, say, part 2 or 3. And now it's going off of how many shots it takes to kill an opponent. Obviously, you want to shoot him in the face or in a particular weak point if you're dealing with, like, armored vehicles. Headshots are very useful, but then again, if you've played any game with a firearm, except for Dirge Cerberus, headshots have always been universally useful. Again, once you hit R1 to, like, take up an aiming position, nobody shoots at you, so you can take as much time as you want. As long as you survive long enough to actually get into aim position. So there's the red captain. Shoot him in the face and then bam, you're good. But you want to make sure you cancel your turn. You want to end your turn as fast as possible once you're done. Because they will not stop shooting you until you end your turn. So just be careful. And he's just not going to do anything. But he will counter you. Once you take a turn, the enemy will counter and fire back at you. At the best of their ability.
Here we go.
You just kind of have to do the math in your head of whether your character can survive a few shots. But it's fine, considering that the captain's dead, and now the next phase of combat begins. In which big problem comes now. I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Sounds like a tank.
Hey, it's Robin Atkins Downs. Look, it's Travis Touchdown. Oh. I don't think Travis Touchdown had to fight a tank, though. We're going to hear a lot of familiar voice actors in this game. Yeah, there's a tank. Tank isn't fun. There goes Travis Touchdown. Oh, wait, he's there again. So yeah, the enemy has a tank. That's not great. And fair bit of warning, none of our units right now can actually put a scratch in it. That big glowing blue radiator thing on the back, that's its weak point. Yeah, even if you know that, you're not going to do that much damage with a bunch of scouts. Not yet, at least. And tanks have a variety of firing options, and I'm surprised that guy survived. Yeah, tanks are no good. Tanks aren't fun. It's not a great scene. So fight the tank.
Welkin, tank!
Didn't notice that, Alicia.
That's not good.
It's not like it just shot a mortar at
Not
us.
a tank.
I hate to say it, but we should probably pull out.
So for the first chapter, the second portion of combat is to run away. But just to get Welkin out of dodge.
And try to stay behind cover while moving.
Don't worry about cover. It's really not a big deal. Because during the second phase, thankfully, Welkin gets all his health back. So just make it to the little flag.
Here we go.
And since Welkin is a scout, he's got tons of movement. He's got tons of AP. So just make a run for it. Serpentine, serpentine, serpentine. Or just tank shots. Just tank shots like I do. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that long of a run. There you go. Operation complete. Yay. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is done.
Looks like we shook him. What are you doing from here?
If they're rolling in the tanks, there's not much the town watch can do. We'll try to buy time so everyone.
So
can
Elise
get
is gonna be a huge badass and just get the rest of the town watch to go fight a fucking tank.
Okay, I'll head
It's
back
not
to the
great.
house and grab Isara and Martha, then come back.
I guess we're gonna find out what happens with Alicia in the next part. So, yay, A rank. Again. I'm gonna try going for all A ranks. I'm gonna try. That's the key word, try. So, until then, In the next part, we'll go fight that tank and see how we can escape from Brule. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you on the next update.